In a narrow street below the level of the road lived Martin Avdeitch, a shoemaker. His workshop was small, his window low, and his life quieter than it used to be. Once, Martin had a wife and a little boy. Now, both were gone, and though his hands still worked leather and thread every day, his heart worked through grief. Martin spoke little. He rose early, worked honestly, and slept alone. And when the day's work was done, he sat by his window, watching feet pass by, wondering, perhaps, what God wanted of a man like him. One evening, as the light faded and the street grew quiet, Martin closed his tools and reached for a book. It was the Gospel, old, worn, and often opened. He read slowly, not to argue, not to impress, but to understand. He read of kindness, of forgiveness, of love given freely, without asking who deserved it.
But how does a man do this in a world like mine?
And then his eyes rested on a line that would not let him go. I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Martin leaned back, the words echoing louder than the street outside. That night, as Martin slept, he dreamed. He seemed to be sitting in his workshop, just as he always did. The bench before him, the window above him, the street beyond. And suddenly, a voice spoke, calm, clear, and kind.
Martin?
He looked up.
Tomorrow I shall come to you. Watch for me.
Martin woke with a start. The room was dark. The fire had died down. The street outside was silent. It had only been a dream, and yet his heart beat as though something true had been said. All night long, Martin did not sleep again. He lay awake, thinking, listening, and wondering how God might come to a shoemaker's window. The next morning, Martin rose before dawn. He washed, prayed briefly, and set his tools upon the bench. But his eyes returned again and again to the window.
He said he would come. I must be watching.
He worked and listened. Each time footsteps passed the window, Martin looked up. A soldier hurried by. A tradesman followed. A woman walked briskly through the cold. Each time, not him. Near midday, Martin noticed an old street sweeper outside. The man stood bent with age and cold, resting on his broom, rubbing his stiff hands together. Martin watched him for a moment. Then he rose and opened the door.
Come in. You look frozen.
He seated the old man by the stove, poured him hot tea, and shared his bread. The old man sighed, the deep sigh of someone who had not felt warmth in a long time. When he had gone, Martin returned to his bench. He looked again toward the window and thought,
Perhaps he will come later.
The day wore on. Martin stitched soles, trimmed leather, and still he watched the window. Toward afternoon, he saw a young woman stop outside. She was poorly dressed, her shoes thin, her shawl worn and frayed. In her arms, she carried a small child, red-faced, hungry, and crying in the cold. The woman tried to quiet him, rocking gently, whispering words that could not warm him. Martin rose at once and opened the door, looked at her kindly and said,
Come in. The child will freeze out here.
Inside, Martin seated her by the stove. He warmed some soup, fed the child, and wrapped him in an old coat. The crying stopped. The woman told him her story, how she had been dismissed from service, how there was no money and nowhere to go. Martin listened without judgment. Then he reached into his drawer and placed a few coins in her hand.
Take these, and may God be with you.
The woman thanked him through tears and went on her way, the child warm and quiet against her shoulder. Martin returned to his bench, and once again he looked toward the window. The street outside grew quieter, and Martin began to think the day was nearly done. Then, beneath his window, raised voices broke the calm. A young boy stood arguing with an old woman. The woman clutched at the boy's sleeve, accusing him loudly of stealing an apple. The boy protested angrily, his face red with fear and pride. Martin hurried outside.
Why are you shouting?
He is a thief. He snatched my apple and ran.
I didn't steal it. She dropped it herself.
Martin looked from one to the other. Then he bent down, picked up the apple, and placed it in the woman's hand.
Take it and forgive him.
The woman hesitated. Martin turned to the boy.
And you, ask forgiveness, even if you are not guilty.
The boy lowered his eyes and whispered an apology. The woman's anger faltered, her grip loosened. At last she sighed and said,
Go and don't do it again.
The boy ran off into the fading light. The woman stood for a moment longer. Then she too walked away, quieter than before. Martin returned to his workshop. The street fell silent once more, and Martin looked toward the window. Evening came at last. The street outside lay empty, and the day's waiting was over. Martin sat down at his bench, tired, but strangely at peace. He sighed and said softly,
I have been watching all day, but he did not come.
Suddenly, the room seemed to grow still, as though it were listening. And then Martin heard voices.
It was I. You gave me warmth and tea. It was I. You fed my child and helped us. And it was I. You stopped anger with forgiveness.
Martin looked around in wonder. No one was there, and yet the room felt full. Then Martin understood. He looked down at the open gospel on his table and read the words he knew by heart.
Inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these, you have done it unto me.
Tears filled Martin's eyes, not of sorrow, but of gratitude, for Christ had come to him that day, not in glory, but in love. The night passed gently. The candle burned low. The street outside lay silent. Martin closed his book and sat for a long while without moving. He was alone, yet he no longer felt lonely, for he understood now that God does not always come in visions or miracles. He comes in warmth given to the cold, in bread shared with the hungry, in forgiveness offered freely. For where love is, God is. If you liked this video, please subscribe to our channel and press the like button for more such videos.